Welcome, everyone, to Family Comes First. I'm Vincent J. Russo.
And I'm Victoria Roberts Strogan. Thank you for joining us today. There are many places in the world where children don't have the support that we often take for granted, whether it's education, healthcare, or support for children with special needs.
Victoria, many of the schools and hospitals in developing countries are overcrowded, underfunded, or may not even exist. But there are organizations here in the United States that are working to change that.
Yes, and today we are so fortunate to have with us amazing guests.
Absolutely.
Yes, and they are dedicated to supporting children in Peru.
That's awesome.
Yes, children who desperately are in need of the healthcare and education systems that we do take for granted in this country.
I agree.
So today, walking together hand in hand right here on Family Comes First. Joining us now from St. John the Baptist Diocesan High School are Rich Costa, the campus minister, and Father Rob Ketcham. Both of these men are part of the high school mission to help the people of Peru. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so let's start with your story.
Yeah, how did it start?
Well, there was a film that came out around 2007, 2008 called The Human Experience. It was about by Grassroots Films in Brooklyn. And they came to our school, and there was a segment about this children's home right outside of Lima, Peru, where there was an American doctor that cared for sick Peruvian children.
Yes.
And some of the students asked us, could they go? And we looked into it, and we were able to do it. So it started in 2010, and we've been going every year since.
So the students were the ones
Definitely.
Wow.
Yep, they're the ones that really pushed it. And at first we didn't think it'd be possible. And but they had the vision, and then we were able to help them do it.
That's inspiring.
Yeah, so now how often are you visiting? And
We go once a year.
Okay.
Yeah, we go once a year.
At the end of the school year, end of June, beginning of July. And depending on how many students sign up for the trip, will determine how long we stay down there now.
Okay.
And this year we went down for 3 weeks because about 45 students signed up for the trip.
Wow.
It's tremendous, 45 kids. It started with 9.
And what do they, so the more students, the more time you want to devote to give them all the opportunity to connect and help. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Right.
based on the way you help down there too. At any given time, 12 to 15 volunteers works well for the Hogar. So we would
Nice.
break the group then up into, say, 3 weeks.
Okay.
15 each week for the sake of serving the Hogar well.
Yes.
So now,
Wonderful.
how are you helping?
Well, the kids, I think the quick answer to that would be presence. I think the presence of our students, right, to the children there, they have playmates for a week, you know, and they have kids that are very close to their age, some of them, that bring a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of energy to the house. And they'll take them to the park, and even just for some of the kids that aren't mobile, they'll go up to their rooms, and some of the kids are really confined to a bed, and they'll go upstairs and play with them. So that's probably the biggest thing. On a very practical level, they will take the kids into Lima for doctor's appointments, sometimes for hospital visits, therapy visits.
Wow.
And that's a very bonding experience too, because you're really with them for maybe 5 hours on a bus.
Right.
Wow.
You know?
And a tremendous, I would imagine, sense of accomplishment for your kids to feel like they've done this. You know, that's a big thing.
Oh, overcoming a lot of fear, absolutely.
Yeah, right. The sense of, can I do this? The question, am I capable of this? They come back, I think, realizing that they're capable of a love that is extraordinary, really.
Right.
And I think also they get a sense of appreciation for what they have.
Yes.
Tremendous.
When they go and help someone in need, and especially those with healthcare issues and special needs.
There's a great, and you've seen this too, there's a great joy in that house. Now part of it is because of the atmosphere that the founder and the doctor that runs it, Anthony Lazara, has brought to it. There's a great...
Yeah, tell us about him.
Sure. So he started this about 25 years ago, and he had gone to Calcutta on a vacation and saw the poverty and said, I can't continue to do this. So he was teaching at Emory University and had a great job. But he said, I need to do something else. So he became a third order Franciscan and went down to Peru and started this home, and really has dedicated his life and has been there. He comes home twice a year, but always considers home being Tampa, where his family is, but he considers Peru his home. And he's given the children an atmosphere of safety and an atmosphere of family. Now, some do have families, and their parents come and visit them. Others don't have families, so he's given them that sense of family. Right?
Yeah, some of the children were brought there by their families, say from the mountains of Peru, and then bringing the child there with some sort of real medical need, right? They bring the child there, but maybe are so overwhelmed by the thought of having to care for the child themselves, leave the child there. Like they sometimes leave the children there at the Hogar. So some of the children are in a sense abandoned there, but not all of them, but some are. Like we'll hear about parents who bring a child, and then we don't hear from the parents again for a couple of years. And the question is, will they ever show up again, or will they even ask, how is my child doing? So that's going on in the house as well, too. So Dr. Tony becomes like a father figure in this home, and even the nurses who work there with him, and the cooks, right, those people who are there, the teacher there, the physical therapist. He has 23 full-time employees or paid staff who help him as well, too. They come in throughout the week. They're never all there all at one time, but they're either driving, like I said, serving in the Hogar itself. But so he has help there, but he becomes like a father figure to them as well.
Sure.
And it provides continuity, I would imagine, for the kids.
Well, creating family.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
Creating family.
Yeah.
The presence of this figure who becomes like you said, there's a sense of permanence with his being there. Creates, I think, allows for this to become a family.
It's extraordinary.
And there's a great joy in the house. And that's the thing our students really pick up on. And then I think they look at their own lives and saying, well, I have all these things. I have a house, and I have a family, and I have health care, and I have every gadget you can imagine. Why am I not this happy? And these children who have nothing, they are dirt poor. And that's the reason they're there, because they can't afford health care. Dr. Tony charges nothing. And I think they really start to ask that really important question. Well, what am I doing in my life?
That's profound.
Yeah.
For our kids in America to be exposed to something that makes them question their assumptions and their, what they think they have and never, may take for granted, and that's extraordinary.
A lot of them go back too. We just had 2 students, I think last week, down there, and they're former students. So a lot of them go back on their own. We've had multiple times of that.
So what class year? Is it a class year that they have this opportunity?
Juniors becoming seniors is typically how it goes.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's like in the summer, or
It's in the summer, right? Yeah. So between those
wonderful.
two, between the junior and senior.
And
It's wonderful.
these kids or students are looking to go to college, and I think it's very helpful that they're showing that not only do they have good grades, but they care about the community, and they volunteered for this trip to Peru. I mean,
there's also something that happens with regard to their view of life itself, too, the sort of sacredness of human life, right?
Yes.
They are going to the next chapter for a lot of these students will be a college scene. They're going to have a proposal made to them with regard to like the sacredness of human life that is like almost like defeatist. There's a sense of like a hopelessness in the way that we approach in modern society, the way we approach like difficult situations, like for example a child with particular medical needs, right?
Yes.
So they come back from Peru. Having loved in a difficult situation or loved children that the world sometimes says to them, children that may be incapable of being loved in this way, it's just too difficult to love them the way that they need to be loved. And they come back to the States here and are now able to say, like, I can love, I've loved in a difficult situation, I've seen children with real needs. And although doctors might think that they're offering health care when they suggest, like maybe the expression of terminating pregnancies, if they foresee like a cerebral palsy or some sort of deformity, our students will be able to say in the face of that kind of ultimatum, like, don't worry, like,
I got this.
we can love.
I've done this, right?
And the joy that they experience there too, for that to be there as a real life experience of this pro-life stance, that kind of thing, the real life experience of the fact that joy is possible in the face of such difficulty, I think it's priceless, the experience.
So we have video. You've just returned from a trip. And so let's look at the video and see the great impact that your program's having.
Great.
Well, when I finally decided to do this type of work, which was in 1981-82, I wrote to different organizations, and one of them was the Franciscans. I wrote to the Mother House, which is in Wisconsin. And a Franciscan, a Capuchin a Franciscan who was passing through, was handed my letter by the secretary. He had a project here, a medical project in Peru, about 25 kilometers from Lima. And he asked me to come down and look it over and interview with him. So I did. I came down in December of 1982. So we talked, and I liked his vision and his charism. We had the same ideas about things. So I accepted his invitation and came down on April the 9th of 1983. I remember the date very well. I stayed with him for 4.5 years and then decided that I would do that on my own. So I bought this house in 1987, December of 1987, and have been here ever since.
Se siente la columna. Sí, la columna no puede caminar. Me siento muy alegre y contenta que está así recuperando ya de salud. Yo pienso que sí está siguiendo adelante con el doctor, más cada día por los niños que lo sirve su atención, aquí a todos, también con todo, madres, ahí ves lo que venimos.
We receive children not only from families, but we receive them from hospitals. We've received them from family judges. We've even received several from the police, and we've had a couple just left on the doorstep by their mothers. The families hear about us, again, by word of mouth.
Right.
People that have had children here or already have children here will tell our mother about our services, and the mother will bring them. But like I said, we also receive from hospitals in different areas. We also receive from the jungle, missions in the jungle, and missions in the Andes and the mountains, and from various parishes in Lima. Each parish in the poor area has a social worker. And so the social worker will call us and state the problem, and we'll see the child. And if the child should come in, then readmit the child.
Eso escuché por la señora Roxana de Bambamarca, una anciana, ya es mayor ya, y eso yo llegué entre ella un domingo, yo bajaba a Bambamarca y me dice, oiga señorito, su chini, ¿por qué lo tiene esa niña cargado? Lo digo, yo lo tengo mi niña cargado, lo digo, porque no puede caminar. Y dijo, le daré la noticia que se vaya a la casa de hogar a Lima, a San Francisco de aquí, San Francisco de Asís, creo que es, sí, ajá. Y me dijo, y yo ya nací preguntando y llegado por acá con mi hermano.
We have an outpatient service and an inpatient service. The inpatient service pays for any medical care that the child needs. If the child cannot receive adequate care at home, or if the child is from the provinces or from the jungle, then the child will come in to the home, will stay with us until they're well, or as well as they can be, and then they return to their families. There's no limit. We have one child where now has been with us for 12 years, and he'll probably be with us for another 3 or 4 years. So there's no limit on the amount of time, but once we've reached a point where nothing more can be done for the child has to return to the family so I can have a supply of beds for new children.
How many do you normally have on a regular basis?
We've had between 40 and 50 on a regular basis. They're getting the type of help that they need and that they didn't have before. This gives them, I think it bolsters their faith. I mean, really and truly, we're not here just to help the children, but we're here to witness. We're here to be a beacon of God's love for these children. So they see that. The nurses, I don't have a bad nurse in the bunch. I don't have a bad employee in the bunch. They're very good with the children. Most of them are mothers. And they I've gone into the baby's room and have seen the nurses pick up a baby and kiss them, not knowing that I was there. So I think that's it. It gives them hope for the future. Even though they may not walk normally or talk normally or what have you, it's a step up anyway.
Thank you both so much. I know we have a little bit more time with you, and Father Rob, thank you so much for not only the work that you do, but for sharing it with us here today.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome experience.
Great to be with you. A blessing for us too.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll take a break now, and we'll be right back on Family Comes First.
Hi, I'm Todd Belisle, the president of the Center for Special Needs Trust Administration. Under current policy, individuals receiving certain means-tested public benefits have very strict income and asset limits. Our partnership with the Teresa Foundation Community Trust Programs helps individuals protect these valuable benefits by giving the individual or their representative the ability to create a trust for the benefit of a loved one. For additional information on how the Teresa Foundation Community Trust Program might help you or a loved one, please contact us today.
Welcome back to Family Comes First. Joining us once again from St. John the Baptist Diocesan High School is Rich Costa, the campus minister, along with the co-host of Telecare's Good News, Karen Danker-Smith.
Hello, thanks for having me here.
Welcome.
This is exciting.
We're happy to have
I'm
you
used to
here.
you asking me questions.
I know, right? Get ready. I have some in my back pocket.
Oh, watch out. So why are you here? How did you get involved?
Well, part of it was being on Good News. I had heard so many stories about people that volunteered and went to different countries, and every time I would get so excited and motivated. I want to go too. And I taught at St. John the Baptist. I was there watching that movie, The Human Experience, that Rich was talking about. And that one segment on Peru, when it ended, I looked at my mom and I said, I have to go there. I have to go to Peru.
Yeah.
So years later, Rich and I were in touch, and I said, do you think I could do it? Can I come? And that's how it all started. This was my second year this past summer.
Wonderful.
That's
wow.
great.
And the interview was so powerful that you did. you
Yes,
know.
it really
That-
was. Usually we spend so much time talking with the children,
Right.
and
Yes.
you really don't very often get to talk to their parents. So
Yes.
to be able to talk to Rosa, it blew my mind to hear her story and how it all happened, that she had her daughter there in the home, and how hard it was for her for the time when her daughter was there and she wasn't able to be with her. Because you wonder, like, what are those parents that drop their kids off and leave? What are they thinking about? What are they going through? To get her perspective was just
it was
beautiful.
amazing to hear the other half of
That's
the story,
right, yeah.
because so much of it is about the children, but it is about the families, you know.
2 weeks ago, my son had a minor thing and was in the hospital, and so there's a bed, a bed right next so the parents can sleep on, and it is such a different experience down there, right?
yeah.
And I saw more parents, I think, this summer than we had ever seen before,
Yeah.
and it really made me realize how easy we have it here. And a lot of times the parents will travel 24 hours on a bus just to spend a few hours there because they have to go home and either take care of a job or take care of the other
Right.
children. And Rosa's, Luz's mom, Rosa, was there for a long time. There was another mother of little boy Segundo who was actually sleeping on the bed with him just so she could spend some time with him. And
Yeah,
it's heartbreaking.
It was interesting. Rosa was in a room with a bunch of girls who were bedridden, and she almost became like a mom to them as well. So
Yes.
they would lean over and ask her, "What are you doing? What are you reading?" And then she would come and sit with them and talk to them too. And they just knew there was another mom that was there.
Right.
So that was beautiful to
Changes
see. Yeah.
so much for a child.
Yeah.
The parents who we have come in contact with are just beautiful. There was a father last summer that just asked me, please take special care of my daughter. He never saw me before,
Right.
but because of the trust that Dr. Tony has built up with the children, and the children know that anyone that he's allowing in the home are going to be okay and they're going to treat
Right.
them well, I think the parents pick up on that as well, and they have some comfort.
It's an amazing sense of confidence and community
Yeah.
that was created. Yeah.
Share some of the reactions that you've gotten from the students who've attended and gone to Peru.
I know a lot of students that I met, because I don't work at St. John the Baptist anymore, and I was so impressed by the teenagers who go. They're so incredible. But a lot of students I met said, I'm thinking about possibly going into healthcare. I'm thinking about becoming a doctor or a
happens a lot.
nurse, because you have hands-on, you are in that experience, and you are hands-on from the minute you get there and doing things you would never imagine yourself doing back here at home.
A real game changer.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, and many of them do. They go on
Yeah.
to study healthcare and issues like that. So that was really interesting for me.
And their hearts are opened in so many ways. And our hope at St. John's is that what they're really going to experience is the body of Christ, that they're going to understand Christ's presence through a place that they would never have imagined.
Right.
So that's always our hope, that in some way, and it may not dawn on them till years later, it may not come together a few years later, but, and you would probably agree with this, when you come home, it's a very hard thing to talk about.
It really
It's
is.
really hard to describe what it is. And I think part of the revelation that the students have, hopefully, will be, I kind of met Christ down there in a way that I just didn't think would ever happen.
Right, and how do you verbalize that? I
Right.
can't verbalize that at
Exactly.
40. How do you verbalize that
Right.
at 15, 16 years old?
Right.
But I know when I came home last year, people said, how was it? And I would just stare at them and say,
Yeah,
I
like-
don't know what to say.
Yeah. Right.
And the
Where do
second
you
time
start?
around,
Right,
So I
right.
can't imagine a teenager being able to verbalize such an
Life-changing.
experience so powerful. It will, the rest of their lives, they're going to be remembering what they did.
We've been very fortunate. I was able to bring my wife, and I have 4 children, and they can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
It's the place that they want to go to the most.
So
which
now I want to
is-
get real practical, because
Sure.
I run a law firm, and I know I've got to have money to pay for the staff, right?
Right.
So how is this funded, and how can the viewers help?
Well, totally donations.
Absolutely.
Right. He has a fund set up. The fund is actually run out of Florida. He has brothers. Dr. Tony has brothers there that kind of run the American arm of it. And there is a website that people could just go to and donate. And that's really the thing that they need. They could always use volunteers, and that could be awesome. But they, at this point, really need money.
So if I was going to Google, I'm going to
how do we
Google. I'm
find
going to
you?
Google
Villa La Paz.
Villa la Paz Foundation.
Right.
.org.
Yep.
I teach K-8 Spanish at Long Beach Catholic School, and I've told all my children. Yes, I know, exactly.
Graduate.
That's correct. I've told all my students about this experience, and they know the children in the home and the Hogar by name. They ask me about them, and
And they raised an awful lot of money.
yeah, so last year we raised over $1,000 for the home.
Fabulous.
I asked each child to bring in $1, so it would have been about $500. But this year, getting ready for the trip, they were so excited. They couldn't wait. Please tell so and so I say hello, and then we made cards for them and all of that. But this year we raised over $2,000.
Fantastic.
And these little
Wonderful.
second grade kids that say, I want you to take some of my communion money, and they give me $100. Please give this to the children in the home. It's beautiful. People are so excited to help.
I'm thrilled because I remember as a little kid with the little box and
That's
the
right,
mission
UNICEF,
work
right.
and the drop the pennies
Yeah,
in during Lent and,
yeah.
and everything else. And it's great for these kids
Absolutely.
at that age to be able to have the joy of giving
Yes.
and to make that commitment
Yes,
to it.
and to have a name and a face. They
And
know
put a
about
face
to it,
Victor.
exactly.
They asked me
Yeah.
about Victor, who's a child that was born with no arms and one
leg.
leg. And they know his whole story. And I have video now of him doing a rainbow loom with his foot. And they can't wait to, tell Victor I said hi. Do you have any more videos of Victor? So they know they're making, even their $1,
Right.
they know exactly where it's going and that they're making a
Well,
difference.
it's
Now
such a direct connection
Yes.
that they
Absolutely.
can feel it very powerfully at a
Yes.
young age, which
Yes.
is uncommon. I think very
Now,
special.
the students themselves pay for their trip
They do.
down? Yep.
Yep, they fundraise. We do have sponsorship forms
At
to
the
them, so
school?
some of the students will send these out to their families saying, if there's any way you can help me, either through a financial contribution or either through prayer. Just please be with us on this.
So our viewers could earmark money to St. John's for the program? Could they do that?
That's a good question. I'd have to look into that.
You wouldn't, if a check came in, you wouldn't like
We're gonna send
return
it
it,
back.
right?
I doubt it.
Absolutely.
So we'd figure out a way.
I'm sure we could figure out a
I want
way.
our viewers to, in their hearts, if they want to support this effort that you have, let's have them do it and give them the as many ways as we can.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I can't believe the time went by so
flies.
quickly.
So much more to talk
thanks-
about.
Inspiring project.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for
It
being
was our
with us
pleasure. Thank you
today.
for having
Yes,
us.
thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
We're going to take a break on Family Comes First.
Vincent, this has been so inspiring to hear about this mission and these trips, and to recognize that our schools support children who have come and said, we want to do this. That was one of the things that hit me the most.
Yeah, that
know?
just really amazed me that
Yeah.
the students came up with the idea of let's be volunteers and go to another country and help those in need. And also it really brings to light the basic needs of people in developing countries that just don't have health care,
Right.
Housing and education.
And I think our children don't consider it unless they are confronted with it.
That's right.
It's very easy to live in a bubble and to go through your life and not to be thinking about this. But when you actually have an experience as a young person where you can compare the blessings of your life with other children who don't have what we do take for granted, I think it's tremendous, just tremendous.
And then the other observation I had from witnessing our guests on this topic was that they've created a home, this Dr. Tony and all the support and volunteers that come to the town of Hogar, Peru, and they've made it a home for these people. And that's so important.
Yeah, safety, permanence, these things, again, that allow children to flourish. All children. That's the other thing. I think unless you're in a community where you're working with kids who have special needs or even adults, there's a little bit of fear and distance, and what they were talking about, how that's completely, it evaporates in the face of the relationships and the love and the humanity. I think we need more of that too.
Right. So Victoria, wouldn't it be great to get the insights of Father Tony?
Yes, yes. So we're so glad to have you with us this
I'm always
morning.
grateful to be here.
Yes.
Thank you for the invite. What I just found so amazing, and Father Robert Ketcham said when he brought the young people back from the experience in Peru back to the United States, where the culture of life is not really part of the American culture. We judge life and evaluate life based on usefulness rather than see the dignity of every single human being. And here, these young people could see that the sanctity of life really is there because people who face challenges where the world might say, well, that life isn't worthwhile, that life isn't valuable. Here, these young people saw that people with challenges and disadvantages in life would face that with hope, with joy. And young people now can see that a value of a life is based not on what we're able to produce or do, but just our very being, able to experience and meet the challenges with hope. And indeed, I think that's what Family Comes First is all about, seeing people with challenges and facing those challenges with hope.
Yeah, and having rich, joyful lives. You know what Rich had said about the kids seeing that the children in Peru were so joyful and happy because of the community that had been created there, that they came back to their lives with their iPhones and their stuff and their this and their that, and they realized that that wasn't what dictated happiness. It was the connection and the love and the joy that had been created in the community. And that was very powerful, you know.
It is, and what a great lesson. I mean, you could try to put right to life education in any high school, but to experience young people seeing children struggling and clinging to life with joy, that speaks more than anything they could learn in a classroom.
The powerful message that I took away today on this show was that all children deserve the benefits of health care and a good education.
Absolutely. For more information on St. John's High School mission, you can check out the website. It's Villa la Paz Foundation.org. And that information is on Vincent's law firm website, in addition to all of our Family Comes First resources. And that's vjrussolaw.com.
Well said. Thanks to all our viewers for joining us. And remember, family truly does come first.